100% man. Like hard drugs is something everyone
was about
should
to say
stay
that,
away
yeah.
from. Yeah, hard drugs is something everyone should stay away from because the level of dopamine kick they give you is something that you cannot get from anything, and your brain will be left craving for it. Your brain will be left craving for it. So hard drugs is something you don't want to try. You shouldn't be curious about. But yeah, the lighter ones, if you're curious, go ahead. But I think the best way would be to be smart enough to understand that first time is never fucking a first time. It's never fucking a first time. If you enjoy it, you're lucky. If you don't enjoy it the first time, you'll probably not get back to it. However, the chances are, even if you do not enjoy and you see others enjoying their first times, you're gonna try again. What the fuck was it that I didn't enjoy? I wanna get to the point where I enjoy it once and then get off. The moment you enjoy it is the moment you're gonna come back to it again. So the best way and the smartest way would be to stay away from everything and do not even try to feed that curiosity. However, this is woo statement. People have their curiosities and people go ahead and try to satisfy them. I've tried a lot of people to not actually go down that route.
Hello everyone, I'm SHIVATHMAJ. I'm your host for this show. Every 15 days, I will be interviewing today's most inspiring personalities who will range from CEOs, YouTubers and other change makers to help you realize your true worth and make the right decision at the right time. So that's about my podcast. If you are a curious person and can't wait to complete the full podcast, you can go to the description to click on the particular timestamps to go on a certain topic. Without wasting any more time, wear your headphones or earphones and let's dive into our conversation. Welcome to my podcast, Vidhaan. I am so glad that you accepted my invite.
Thank you, Shanoy. It's a pleasure to be on your show, and thanks for inviting me, dude.
Yeah, I really enjoyed listening to your podcast episode, The 20s Show, and I highly recommend whoever listening to this podcast or seeing this podcast, do listen to that once, especially the episode number 1, because it's such a wonderful episode which makes you realize how short your life is. And before I tell all about it, I want to hear from you as well. What do you mean by start with end in mind, bro?
So, it's the first episode is called Begin with the End in Mind. And it essentially means that you gotta, whatever you're beginning, whatever you're starting off, you have to have the end in mind as well as to what. In fact, the first episode is all about begin with the end in mind of your life. So it's a broader picture. And you got to realize that we all are mortals, and in the end we are going to die, and there is an end to every one of us, in each one of us. And so the mentality that you just go on recklessly wasting your time and not actually implementing your actions for your goals and things like it, everything that you want to do, just remember that there is an end to you. So all that episode is about is that you need to understand that there is an end to everything, and that you have to do whatever you want to do in life now.
Man, are you always wise? From your college days, are you the same, far ahead than what people realize in the age of 40, 50?
I think I wasn't always like this. I've always been a carefree guy, mostly till the start of my college, probably. This was what my experiences, my failures did to me. This was what my habit of reading did to me, right? I have all the perspective that I've gotten was because of, I think that's definitely a big parameter, was because of me reading books, because of me reading the regrets of people who are in their late years of life, in their adulthood, not just in their adulthood, in their old ages, in their 40s, in their 50s. I've heard a lot of regrets of people, and I read a lot of books and I learn from the experiences of other people. And this is how I got the perspective, and this is how I get constantly, enhancing the perspective, the way I'm seeing the world, constantly broadening my horizon. And that's just about it.
And I would like to go further down into your college life. How were you, as in which college you went in, and how were you as a college student?
So I think I've as a student who with terms of marks, I've always been a average sort of person. However, in 12th class, I stood first in my class, and I think 12th was what matters. So I went to Delhi University. I graduated from Shahid Bhagat Singh College, and my graduation was completed back in 2017. So yeah, I what I wish I did more of in my college was I wish I participated more. I wish I got exposure in more societies and more things like it. So there was no issue of attendance. And that is why my college life was mostly me chilling out with my flatmates, with my friends, and just chilling out.
Yeah, like when I remember my college, like I was, when we just started, we were so much into the college study stuff, and as day progresses, we realize what the actual meaning of college is. And
Colleges.
yeah,
True, true, true. So towards the end, the final 2 semesters of mine, I got a bit serious about my career and about things. So I got placed from my college right away. And yeah, things started picking up well. So at the crucial times of life, like the final year of my college, the period around the placements, the 12th standard, and at the key points, I think I've managed to take control of myself and do well. And the rest of the times which do not matter, I haven't took studies very seriously.
like what were you more interested in now? And I think most of us, when we go to college, we go with a different intention, but after that some fall in some kind of bad addiction, or some will follow study and become a book nerd and end up doing something they don't want to do, and very few of them realize what they want to do, and they separate themselves from the crowd and do something else. So what are your take on this?
I think that's a really good point, and I've observed this myself. So I wasn't the one who got, who people would look up to when I was in my college, or who people would look up to when I was in my school either. So I was mostly always a guy who was very curious about things and who wanted to expose myself to to a plethora of things. I was never, restricted to one aspect of anything. I was into sports big time. I was into, making a lot of friends, meeting and hanging out with people across ages, especially older people. And yeah, I partied a lot. I exposed myself. I experienced everything during my during my, not even in early 20s. I got back on track in my early 20s, but before my 20s, during my teens and late teens, I was experiencing everything. Yeah.
Yeah, I also noticed that you are into Toastmasters.
Yeah, I joined Toastmasters in fact like 3 years ago, and I would never have started podcasting had I not been to Toastmasters and realized my potential.
Yeah, like how does communication, like expressing ourselves, helps in our self development according to you? Like what changes did Toastmaster started giving you in your life?
That's a brilliant question. So, what Toastmasters did was, so essentially, I went to Toastmasters because I thought there is a part of me who can potentially be good at public speaking, who has got the knack for communication, and who's got the knack to express myself very articulately, right? So, that is why I joined Toastmasters, because public speaking was my number one fear. And if there was a research conducted, if you've read How to Win Friends and Influence People,
Yeah, I read it.
there's a proper research done by, I cannot name which university it was, but about 75% of people, when asked, what is your number one fear? Their number one fear wasn't death. It was public speaking. And people would rather die than go speak in front of public. So yeah, I could relate with it very well, and I had the fear as well, and so I went to Toastmasters so I could kill my fear of public speaking. So I could get exposed to it, and that is exactly what happened. My number one fear got such a blow that I loved being at Toastmasters. The first day I had to go ahead on the stage and I had to give my introduction. And that was something that I dreaded. I didn't want to go on the stage at the first day. I wanted to know people and then go on the stage. And you know how it goes. But I was forced to go on the stage and then give my introduction. And then a random topic, table topics there is in Toastmasters. I picked up a random topic and I had to speak for 2 minutes.
Wow.
When I came back after speaking for 2 minutes, I wanted to go back again, dude. It was so exciting being there. I wanted to go back. And so gradually I kept on winning awards. I kept on winning speeches. I kept on winning trophies in public speaking. And I kept on growing more and more confident around public speaking and doing things, presenting myself and being very articulate about what I'm thinking and not hesitating about what others are going to think. Just speaking out, being myself.
So
Toastmasters is something I would highly recommend everyone.
Exactly at what time did you start Toastmaster?
I started Toastmasters after I quit my job, and after I started my business and automated it well. That is when I was able to, make a lot of time for myself, and I got off the hook of trading my time for money. And so I wanted to, build everything in myself by having automated my business. So I was going to Toastmasters. I was doing multiple things to groom myself up and to, prepare and launch into something new.
Yeah, like even I wanted to go Toastmaster, but it's a bit far from here. And and I think they are doing online sessions.
They're doing for the last.
How effective is online session of Toastmaster?
Honestly, I think anyone who wants to get the taste of it should definitely go there and attend a meeting. But I personally haven't been going since it became online because I did not get the rush of standing in front of people. I did not feel as fearful as I would when I was standing in front of everyone in person.
Very true.
So the fear factor gives the pump as well. The more you're fearful about it, the more excited you are as well. And the more happier you are when you perform well. So the entire excitement part wasn't there. And nonetheless, I was creating videos or doing something online. So I was getting the exposure nonetheless. So yeah, that's why I thought it's not for me now. But I would 100% suggest anyone who wants to give it a try, do join a Toastmasters club. Before even joining, you get to be a guest and just look how it is.
Yeah, even like Raj Shamani said the same thing. Like when he was in the stage, he felt completely different, and when he felt less fearful in front of camera, and that's why he don't enjoy that much of making.
Exactly.
And even I can make out that like everything is going virtual right now. Bro, like I would like you to tell me more about your travel experience. Like recently in your post, you mentioned that you traveled to different places, and I'm very sure that the nature has taught you a way more of things, and I'm super curious to get some insights from you on that.
All right, thanks for asking me this question. And I think my number one lesson that I've had by traveling, which I get a lot of learnings, 100% I relate with so many things with nature that go on with our lives on a macro level as well, on a micro level as well. So the number one lesson which I learned when I was trekking back in 2017 or 2018 was, so I travel a lot, I travel often, but this recently was my longest travel ever. It was a 40-day stretch of me traveling, and that was 100% wonderful. Definitely brought a lot of changes in me.
You alone or with group?
So when you're traveling, even alone, when you're traveling solo, most cases and most of the time you're actually not alone. You make a lot of friends everywhere you go. So it's a misconception, and I think a lot of people need to take the plunge of going solo. They will not be alone. They will not be alone. They'll have so many people to be surrounded with, and you get to choose who to be around, who not to be around. But with friends, you do not have that choice. You have to take modest decisions. You have to take decisions which are, which have a mutual consent of everyone. And when there is a mutual consent of everyone, the choice is usually mediocre. And it's not so exciting or not so adventurous and things like it. So traveling solo has legit changed my life. I went solo traveling first in 2017. And I do that often as well. So my biggest learning, coming back to that with travel, is while I was trekking to Kuwari Pass, I believe. So this is in Uttarakhand, and it connects with the life in general. And so have you ever been on a trek?
Not exactly, but I've been to Delhi and some of the trekking places, but didn't exactly go.
Okay, you definitely should go on treks. They're life changing. So I'll tell you how it goes. So when you're trekking, this was a 5 day trek. 5 days, no signals. You uh, take your backpack and you ascend every day for 6 hours and halt for a night. Overnight, then you climb higher the next day. And so the 3-4 day journey is an ascent, and the final day you completely descend down to the base camp. So in this, what happens is you are at a point and you're being told that you have to go there at that point, at that peak, and it looks so freaking far. It looks so fucking far that you feel like, how am I going to reach there? But what you got to do is you don't have to look there at the peak and get overwhelmed. All you got to do is you have to look right at your next step. You just have to focus on placing your step as nicely as possible, just the next step, and just keep looking down, keep walking, keep taking the next step as best as possible, and along the journey, stop, look around, take a breathe, take a deep breathe, and just look around, enjoy the views, and then again focus down and keep walking. Once in a while, look where the peak is and check if you're going in the right direction, and then just keep looking down. And in no time, you'll realize that you are at the peak. This is exactly what life is. All you got to do is just focus on the next immediate steps, and all you should be able to see is the next 2-3 steps. Once in a while, enjoy life, calm down, sit for a while, look at the peak and see if you're going in the right direction, then back to focusing on the next few steps.
Wow, that was like so great to hear that we are just overwhelmed by the big goals that we set for ourselves. And
Exactly.
yeah, like you said, you stayed there, but in my case, like I had a truck which I just remember, like we went morning and came by evening.
Mhm.
And yeah, just like you said, we went in a group and we finished it within no time. But when we got down and got back and saw the peak, it was like almost impossible that we made it till there. But we had climbed and came back. Yeah, it's very true.
Right.
So how are you like applying those lessons in your day-to-day life? Like can you just simplify that in further detail? Like we all some people say that as a student you should have some big goals, but along with those goals, how to like see them without overwhelming us, and how to take next further steps without getting stressed about the big goal, that how far we reach. How do you exactly do that, and how do you remain so calm at such an young age? You have so much to do.
Okay, so let's break this question down and start with, how do you choose your own goal, right? For most people, in my opinion, in my observation, most people, their goals are actually derived out of the external world. The goals that most people have is, I want to be a CA, I want to clear UPSC, I want to do this, I want to do that. And most of those goals, you haven't even tasted how it would feel being that person.
Very.
And you've decided to climb a mountain that you have no idea, how it would feel like without having the taste of it. And you spent 10 years climbing up there. Think about what happens when you actually get there and you find out that what I'm seeing is not what I'm enjoying. And you've taken so much time to climb there that you hesitate to get back down again. And then you have to spend a lot of your time, a lot of your years of life not enjoying the view for which you have worked so hard. So the goal, I personally, how I see things is, I really don't know what I want to do in life. I think I'm as clueless as most people, but all, like the lesson that you said, how am I applying it, is I know certain values. I know certain things that I want to do in life. The kind of person I want to be in life, right? That's the peak. The kind of person I want to be, and the kind of life I want to live, right? And I just focus on the next 2 to 3 steps. Those are the steps I should be able to see clearly and step on them one at a time and very nicely as possible, still not being a perfectionist, but keep on trying and keep on exposing yourself to different things, right? Even the things, especially the things that you fear, right? Because it's highly probable that you will, there's a quote that I absolutely love, is the cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek. Right? We hold ourselves back from things that we are fearful about, but the chances are, once you try to do that, beyond that fear is where you want to go in life. Beyond that fear is something that you will find yourself passionate about, because you have a nerve, you have a emotional connection with it. That is why you're fearful about it. Not a lot of people will be fearful about the same thing. And so always smash your fears. And yeah, that is my take. That is what my take is. Expose yourself to a lot of things, and you will not be sure, but don't make such a big goal for yourself which you have no idea whether or not you'll enjoy. Right?
Yeah,
I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, it answered a lot of my question, and you mean we have to try a lot of things before we actually set up on some constant goals. As far as I heard, even you might have heard, many people stick on with they want to do engineering, they want to be a doctor, they want to do this. I'm not saying any of this is wrong, but I think we should get some kind of taste, like you said. Because I think especially in India, people will stick to their roles even if they don't want, even because they spend so much time in that, and they are so hesitant to change.
Yeah.
And in my case,
so the point please.
Yeah, I will just complete then. Yeah, like in my case, I was so stick to my engineering, and when lockdown happened, I started realizing that there are other things to do, and I came across lot of mentors like Swastik, and came across lot of podcasts like yours, and I took after conducting some podcast episodes like you, I finally made up my mind to take a leap and separate myself from the crowd, no matter what happens. Even like you, I don't have any particular goal to do this, that, but I have some immediate steps, like you said.
That is nice. And like you mentioned, that a lot of people are hesitant to actually change back their strategy, or to realize that, oh, I might be climbing the wrong mountain, and I might need to explore a little more things. So the thing is, you need to be adaptable. This is what happens throughout life. You want to start a business, you think of something that, I think this is something that I like doing, and I think I could be of value to other people, and this is something that other people might need. When you actually embark on that journey, you'll realize, there is a high probability that you realize that, oh, it's not something that I enjoy, or even more likely, it's not something that others need. But when you're along that journey, you realize, okay, this is not what others need, but I have figured out that this something different along the way is what people are needing. And you have to constantly pivot your strategy. Okay, this is not working, let's try this. When some things don't work out, you do realize the space where things are likelier to work out. So you pivot yourself to that space, and you keep pivoting. Don't be, adamant, don't be rigid in your approach towards life. Just keep trying, be flexible, be adaptable, and do what you think is right.
To be more clear, did you mean to pivot our goals, or our strategies to achieve that goal?
Oh, both, whatever works. Goals may or may not be needed to change as much as the strategy needs to be changed at times, right? For the goal to actually change, you need to have a very hard realization that, okay, this is not something that will make me feel nice. Like, a goal of ours could be having a Lamborghini at the age of 30, right? But then growing up in our early 20s, we might get a realization, okay, Lamborghini is something that might not be, that I wouldn't want to trade a lot of my money for, right? And that it may not be necessary, that it might not give me that much happiness. And these are the kinds of superficial goals that change along the way as your perspective shifts and broadens up. But yeah, most goals have to be there, and just your strategy has to change to get there.
Yeah, and we should be so open. Just like you said, I had some goals of buying a PlayStation 4, PlayStation, big games and stuff. But
Yeah.
Now when I started freelancing and now I have my own money, but I don't have that goal anymore. I have
Awesome. Yeah. See,
upskilled
that's
and
what I'm talking
yeah.
about. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
In
like
fact, on that note, I
yeah.
really think I don't play games. I did not play PUBG. I used to, like I said, experience everything in life. I used to have PlayStation. I used to play a lot of games,
Wow.
and eventually I realized that I play games first, and then the games play me. And so
Very
I
true.
stay away from games because they have the psychology. They're built for addiction. They're built in a way that they're addictive, and that you will have to spend a lot more time. And with your time, the companies are going to make money. And I don't want to trade my time for money, and in no way my time for money that I'm not even making and somebody else is.
Yeah, coming to that, like, what do you think in students' life is more important, whether it is time or money? I mean, to be more specific, some people trade their time for making money as a freelancer, or some will
Yeah.
build a business and save both time and money. Like, what is your take on this?
So I think for anybody, the time is the most important, the only important thing that we have. I really think money is not something that is limited. Money is a lot in this world. Money is a lot. Any lost money is not worth, crying along. Any lost money is not worth spending more of your time with the bad feelings. And time is of more essence. However, coming to your point, a lot of people, like you said, trade their time for money. And I think there is no way around it. Initially, you will have to trade your time for money. The idea is to not always have to trade your time for money, and to go in the direction, to go at the peak wherein you do not have to eventually trade your time for money. And the idea of financial freedom is all about that. Eventually you do what you want to do, and you do not do things that you need to do so that you could make money. You just do what you want to do, and the money
Oh.
is already working for you.
And in your young age, I think you also build some skills. So, what kind of skills do you think students should focus on building in their college life? Especially, I think you have skills like video editing, graphic designing, and speaking. And what are some of your suggestions for us to work on ourselves?
Yeah. So I may not be very right, but in my opinion, I think that's just basic. I think you need to build your sales skills, right? A lot of people hesitate while being placed. They would not take up any offers, any placement offer, because it's a calling job, it's a sales job, it's something different. But I would heavily suggest that if you do not have anything else that you really like working upon, and if you're getting an offer from a calling job or a sales job, I think sales is a terrific skill to have, right? And think about it, you're getting paid for the 2 months training that any sales company would take you through, right? And that's such a tremendous skill to have in the future. Sales is a very, very future relevant skill. And a lot of micro businesses are going to spring up as the time goes along, right? A lot of people will gain ownership of their business, of their passion, of their monetization without relying on other people. And they will be small, not a big organization. And a much important aspect would be sales. Communicate with a lot of people. A lot of people tend to hang out with people who have similar mindsets, right? I'd
Yeah.
suggest go out and meet people who do not look like you, who do not speak like you, who do not think like you, and who do not do things that
Wow.
you do. So you can, go get out of your comfort zone and experience hanging out and being adaptable with other people. So this is a very crucial skill, to hang out with a lot of people, make a lot of genuine connections, hang out with a lot of people, make networks, build sales skills, and do what you're fearful for. Go on the stage.
Wow.
Go on the stage is a must. Make a fool out of yourself. Learn to be comfortable of getting embarrassed. And me saying that doesn't imply that I have become that person. It's just that I speak the same with myself. I say to myself that you have to be comfortable getting embarrassed. Do this. I know what the ideal is, but knowing something does not equate with me doing it. I might not be able to actually do it, but I'm going along the way. I'm walking towards it.
Like by seeing the words that you are speaking, it is very clear that you are very wise. Like I am very curious to have a sneak peek into your life. Like how exactly does your routine look like?
Okay, honestly, I think I am not a very disciplined person, and I would really want to build a lot of discipline around myself. However, there are, bursts of me where I take a sprint, where I'm very disciplined, where I would wake up on time, do my morning routine, get my shit done, very scheduled about things, and then I would rest for a period of time wherein I do not do a lot of efforts and I'm just doing random things. I usually actually do what I feel like doing, but that's definitely not the right approach. And I think I would want to be more disciplined, because being disciplined is freedom in its own way.
Yeah, very true. And
So,
when I see stories of like people like Swastik and all, in their stories they
mm,
post like they have booked there every second, every minute, and it's quite
right.
inspiring and overwhelming at the same time.
Right, 100%, man. In fact, with Swastik, I was impressed as well that he is getting his entire schedule on Sunday for the rest of the week and things like it. And I actually want to get there. However, I currently am not. No fooling myself, no fooling anybody. I think I am good with time, but I think I'm not very good with allocating the right things at the right time. However, I consciously try and make decisions of getting involved into things that that are not short term pleasure based, and they actually are productive and build in the longer run. So I procrastinate with something, but the thing that I actually end up doing is also productive. So I keep juggling between different kinds of productive things, and yeah, it's a little scattered, and it's not as nice as it might be. But I think a lot of people who look well organized and highly effective people do not really have a lot of organization with things that they do with life.
Yeah,
So
especially I
that's
think
fine
with
as
Raj
well, as long
Shamani.
as you're
Yeah, like Raj.
yeah, they're definitely. I think Varun Maya also is someone who is not too good with his time, and he's more inclined towards doing things that he actually likes doing, right? And he would, yeah. So he has got a problem with the equation of time as well, and I think I've got that too. I think I'm not very good with time, and I might forget things, but things that I actually care about, my time is just lost, and I can spend hours and hours and hours on things that I love doing. And those can very well be those are very well my businesses and things that I am doing. So yeah.
Like I just want to take you back to your college once again, and I want to like see there are two kind of people. One who will like keeping toppers aside. I am not against toppers, but I just don't want to talk about them right now. Like there are two kind of people. One who will find their passion in their college life, and others who will fall in some kind of addictions. So I want to talk about those people who fall into addictions. Like what is your take on people who get into addiction, and if so, how can they come out of it?
All right. So I think I have been the person who would fall into addictions. I personally have been that person. I was addicted to smoking up. I was
Oh,
addictive to cigarettes. I was addicted to partying around and chilling a lot. But those were, like I said, in my late teens and not in my early 20s. My early 20s was all about me having learned all the lesson and me growing out of it and taking really good lessons out of it, and me breaking out of all my addictions and me getting closer to the freedom that I desire. So I think what you actually need to do is you need to understand why you're doing what you're doing. The why aspect is the most important thing. It's completely fine. So anybody who gets into addictions, I would really want to put out that those who do not get into it, they don't get to really understand how things go. But people, it all starts out of a curiosity that I want to experience
yeah.
this. I want to see why people do not want me to try this, and I'm just legit curious. Once you try and satisfy that curiosity, you get the experience. Oh, this is how it feels. And once your mind gets the experience, this is how it feels, and there's a dopamine kick that goes along with it. So your mind wants it to feel good. Your mind wants it to be filled with dopamine. And that is why it, gravitates back to the things and people get into the addiction loop. For the people who want to get out of addictions and for anyone who is actually trying things, my number one tip would be to, have different sources of fun. Ensure that you're hitting the gym when you feel addicted, so you get the endorphins rushing through your body and you feel good without having to, actually get your addiction. You need to, play some sport. You need to hang out with people who are sober as well, who are doing different things in life, and just expose yourself to different sources of fun is the bottom line. People restrict themselves to the one source of fun, which could be what their go-to addiction is. And that is the loop that will keep taking them down the spiral. So expose yourself to different sources of fun and you'll realize that, okay, I don't need this really. I can do a lot of things, and this is actually, inhibiting my ability to experience what life truly is. So as long as you're curious, which everyone is, do whatever you want to do, try whatever you want to try, but know why you want to why you are trying it, and what exactly is it going to do to your body. Because later, both these things, when I started to understand what things are doing to me, when I started to experience what things are doing to me, when I got the knowledge, I collected more facts around it. I thought, okay, I don't want to do this. I don't want this to happen to me. And there are so many things in life that I want to do. And so eventually you'll get out of it and you will not have any regrets about it.
Yeah, like we have to be very specific, and I think there are some addictions which if you get into, you can't easily escape, and I think people should stay away from those kind of things.
100%, man. Like hard drugs is something everyone should stay away from. Yeah, hard drugs is something everyone should stay away from, because the level of dopamine kick they give you is something that you cannot get from anything, and your brain will be left craving for it. So hard drugs is something you don't want to try. You shouldn't be curious about. But yeah, the lighter ones, if you're curious, go ahead. But I think the best way would be to be smart enough to understand that first time is never fucking a first time. It's never fucking a first time. If you enjoy it, you're lucky. If you don't enjoy it the first time, you'll probably not get back to it. However, the chances are, even if you do not enjoy and you see others enjoying their first times, you're gonna try again. What the fuck was it that I didn't enjoy? I wanna get to the point where I enjoy it once and then get off. The moment you enjoy it is the moment you're gonna come back to it again. So the best way and the smartest way would be to stay away from everything and do not even try to feed that curiosity. However, this is a woo-woo statement. People have their curiosities and people go ahead and try to satisfy them. I've tried a lot of people to not actually go down that route, and I've recently read this book called Siddhartha. It's a wonderful book, and it told me how people who want to go and explore how life is, they won't stop, and you cannot stop them, and it's not for you to try so hard that you feel bad about not being able to stop other people. Your duty is you just put out your words, you share your lessons, you share the why as to why you do not want them to do it. And if you're convincing enough and if they're wise enough, they'll understand your why and relate with it. Otherwise, they're gonna go and satisfy their curiosity.
Yeah, and I just wanted to. There was a major shift when college life happened and when lockdown happened. We had some massive mindset transformation as well. Like, what exactly you did when lockdown exactly happened, and how it affected people surrounding you, and how did things go when from the day lockdown started?
So when lockdown started, Shiva, I was doing my business, and my business got a hit suddenly, and I was stressful for about 15 to 30 days. That's when the stock markets bottomed and there was a bloodbath in the markets. And I've always, like you and most people, I'm sure, most of the people of our age want to be, smart at investing at some point in time. They want to learn investing, they want to learn stock markets, and they want to get into it because everyone deep down knows that there has to be a way around it. and everyone wants to have that time. I'm no exception. So I wanted to have 6 months of my time where I could completely dedicate myself into learning stock market, learning everything around money and investing, and actually doing it side by side alongside my learnings, practically and theoretically. So that is when I realized that this is the perfect time for me to get into it. And for the next 3 to 4 months, I was all into this stock markets, investing and understanding money. I watched videos only about money, I watched documentaries only about money, stock markets, economy, finances. I read books only about these subjects, and anyone with whom I was having a conversation or discussion, I would tend to have conversations around this itself. So my 3 to 4 months were almost like me spending 16 to 18 hours every day being, absolutely drowned into understanding how everything works and actually investing. And I loved this. And this was the best thing that happened to me. Then came my podcast. So the first was investing. I went all in. Then I went all in into podcasting while I was still juggling with investing, learning about it, because it's something that goes always with your life. It's not a syllabus that you'll cover once and then you can just go ahead. It's a non-ending process. It's a continual process. You have to keep reading, keep learning, keep reading, keep learning, keep reading the statements, everything. So yeah, my lockdown mostly was revealed a lot about myself to me. My lockdown mostly, made it apparent what things I'm passionate about, the things that I love, and I just went on a pursuit for them.
And yeah, for me also it was very similar. For most of them, it was similar. Like they had a choice to utilize it or waste it, and I think
100%.
most of people have wasted it because by
Wasted it.
binge watching Netflix and other
Binge
stuff.
watching Netflix. The short-term instant pleasure, the instant gratification loop was where most people were found, and yeah.
Yeah, like for me, one of my best decision in lockdown was starting this podcast, like interviewing some amazing guests like you. And coming to that, I just wanted to know, like even you have your podcast and you have interviewed people like Shreya Pattar and Ron Malhotra and many other wise men. Like, what are your takes, like before and after conducting these interviews? How was your mental shift, which you didn't knew as a student, and now you know that?
So the best, hands down, I think the best podcast episode was with Ron Malhotra, because Ron Malhotra is such an amazing visionary. I really like the way he articulates his thoughts and the way he has connected things in his own mind, and getting to explore his mind. The way the conversation was flowing was really stimulating, and I loved this. And so podcasting is something that was a beautiful intersection of the things that I love doing, right? I love connecting with new people. I love engaging in mentally stimulating conversations. I love sharing my messages and my learnings with other people, and everything was being done through podcasting. So it was the best medium that coincided with all my interests. And so podcasting has been a wonderful experience, and I've learned a lot from other people by having just conversations with them, the way I can, engage in them, the way I can, the conversation flows to and fro, and multiple things, man. I have a diary of mine where I keep noting the learnings that I get, and podcasting is beautiful, connecting with interesting people. So connecting with Ron Malhotra, and these are some people I wouldn't have, had the privilege to connect with had I not been doing podcasting as of now, right? Currently, there was no way they would give me 1.5 hours of their time and, stay connected even after that. So another beautiful relation I made was with Srijan. So Srijan Bhardwaj is, we had a podcast, but it's not released yet. However, we recently met in the trip as well. And we hanged out for a couple of days, and it was a beautiful relation we built, and it's gonna turn into businesses probably, potentially in the future. And yeah, it's been great, man. It's been great.
Yeah, like it's so amazing to see like such an easy access we have to the internet, and
Yeah.
everyone can create, and today everything is for free, but still people are like hesitant. And when I asked this same question to my friends, most of them said like what people think, and I will do once my life gets sorted and I'm well settled. And yeah,
Exactly.
and for
Yeah.
me
People are
it's
waiting for
now,
the right
yeah,
time to come. Yeah.
yeah, now is the right time,
Yeah.
just like you said.
Now is the right time, exactly. And just you might not, so you might have an image that you want to do this in life, and it might be a big image, but just shorten it up. Uska intensity you can just lower down, and then you could actually be doing it today. As you go along, you just broaden what you actually want to do, but today as well, just don't leave it for the future, and be completely different today. Like, don't do the rough work today, waiting for your exam to write in a good handwriting, right? You just keep living beautifully every day. You just keep living the elements of the life that you want to live in the future. You want to create freedom for yourself, create as much freedom as you can today. The amount of freedom that is possible, that is legit possible, at least create that, so you could keep on growing along the way.
And most importantly, we should be kind to ourselves, right, throughout the journey.
Very kind to ourselves. Yeah, true. Very true, man.
And I think
Like,
even me, I self sabotage myself when
I do too,
when
man. I do too, man. That's completely fine. I'm very compassionate about it, and I'm compassionate with you. I empathize with you, and it's completely fine. But just having the awareness, Shiva, to not actually, be conscious about the words that you're speaking with yourself. Be conscious about the conversation that you're having with yourself, and be kind to yourself. Forgive yourself often. Like, there's a forgiveness meditation that Vishen Lakhiani from Mind Valley often very highly suggests people, and the part of forgiveness should start with forgiving yourself, forgiving the flaws that you have, forgiving the shortcomings that you've had, and just forgive yourself. Be kind to yourself. That's the only way to stay happy and constantly growing, and not limiting yourself.
yeah, man, yeah, and
I do that a lot. I do that a lot, and I just constantly keep trying to, be kind to myself. And a book that should really be helpful to, enhance the conversations that you have with yourself is The Secret. I'm not
I
sure if
have
you've
read
read that book.
I read half of the
You
book, and
half of the book, right? And when did you read that book?
around 3 months ago.
Acha, just around 3 months ago. So I personally derive a lot of value, and I'm completely open to the possibility, and I completely understand that not everyone will derive value out of it, or it might not be the right time for other people to actually be able to derive value from it. Try again the same book after a while, but that's the book that really can, enhance the kind of conversation that you have with yourself.
Yeah, like whichever mentor I am coming across, whichever courses I am investing, every one of them in one or the other way are just telling the value same as The Secret. Like some are deriving value from Think and Grow Rich, which is also similar to Secret. And yeah, recently even I have my own goal card. Like I don't know whether you believe it or not. Uh,
No, please just be yourself.
yeah,
It's not
like
for me
something
to
like
decide
this.
whether it's right. Awesome. Awesome. And what do you do with this, Shiva?
One of my mentor had told me to see that card every day, and just tell the goal loudly to yourself, and one day you will start believing it, and when you start believing it, you start manifesting it. So
Mhm.
yeah,
Mhm.
in some
So,
some way I believe it. Yeah, tell me.
yeah. And that's awesome. So, the only thing that matters is, so what's happening when you're looking at a goal, right? What's the only thing that's going to stop you from actually being able to reach that goal is your conscious mind. So, you have a conscious and a subconscious mind. If you do not put restrictions on yourself or your capabilities by your conscious mind, right? If you do not doubt the possibility of it coming true, there is no way it doesn't come true. It's only your conscious mind. So suppose if I look at a paper wherein there are 11 digits of numbers, right? And I look at it thinking that this is going to be the balance that I have, this is going to be the net worth that I'm going to have. And my conscious mind says, fuck this, dude. You can't do this. you doubt it, right, from your conscious mind. And if you put doubts through your conscious minds, there is no fucking way you looking at that number is never gonna materialize in your life. But if you lift off the self disbelief from your conscious mind and you look at it and you see, yeah, this is going to be the number that I'm going to see someday. I don't know when, but I'm absolutely sure I am.
Yeah, coming
That's
to that
when
same
you're-
point, how do you like remove all the negativity of even some people might stop you from getting to there, and even you will stop you from getting there. What is your take? How
Yeah.
do you like bulletproof yourself from your subconscious mind?
So-
yeah.
So when it comes to money, I don't think I put any kind of disbeliefs on myself. I think I really think it's limitless, and I really think no number should be a shortcoming. And at a lot of things, I just understand this, that I have to. I have faith in myself because I've fallen a lot and I've been able to pick myself up. And I know that and I really have a lot of faith in my ability to adapt to things. So whatever I want to go at, if I really want to do that, if I actually am passionate about it, not just delusional, right, I am going to get there. And to bulletproof it from others' suggestion, right, you're going to read the book The Power of Your Subconscious Mind by Dr. Joseph Murphy, which will make you understand how other suggestions impacts your way of seeing the world. So I legit do not want to hear the suggestions of people who tell me that you cannot do it. They've been a huge motivator for me, right? Others telling me you cannot do it is the number one reason I do a lot of things, and that I feel has helped me a lot. But I think that's a negative fuel to be driven by, right? You trying to prove others wrong is the fuel that most people rise, but it works till a certain extent, and then you have to change the fuel to actually live a fulfilled and happy life. Because the drive that you had was, I'm going to show them. I'm going to prove them. I'm going to prove myself. This is a drive that, initially takes you up, but then you have to change the fuel. So suggestions of other people who, surround yourself with people who do not question your beliefs, who do not, say things like why it is not possible and always finding the shortcomings. Those are some suggestions that, one example would for this, from my personal life would be when I was working at a job after my placement. The job was very demanding in terms of the mental faculties I had to apply, in terms of the mental energy that I would have left with when I came back home. And everyone from my college, 11 guys got placed from my college. Everyone was we were from a good college, I believe, and everyone of us wanted to get an MBA done from a really good college, and everyone wanted to start preparing for their MBA alongside their jobs. And every fucking one backed out, thinking that this is so much of pressure at the office itself. There is no possibility that I can clear MBA by studying alongside this job. And that was the suggestion that I didn't want to hear from other people. I really wanted me to not. I thought that 100% is possible, and I was hustling for it. I was studying in my cab. I was putting my mobile phone behind the driver's seat. The flashlight was on. I was solving problems. I was not taking breaks. In my breaks, I was out. I was studying. If I had a 15-minute break, I would go down and I would work out at the gym. And I was hustling really hard. And when other people came out and say, oh, that's just not possible, and they were relaxed and they're just enjoying life, that's something I don't want to see. That's something I don't want to hear. And that's something I do not want to be surrounded with. The people who do not believe in themselves are the people who would never believe in your dreams either. And those are the people you don't want to surround yourself with.
That was so powerful. Like even we should stop giving excuses to ourselves. Like you said, if you are seriously interested, you will make time for it, no matter how. And I really enjoyed the way that you described and the passion you showed to complete. Even my mother has completed MBA in her in the time when everyone were she's currently in an office, and along with her office job, she completed MBA, somewhat similar to you. But it is not a complete MBA, it's just part by part.
It's just about the possibility of whether or not it's possible. And it varies from other people, right? Other people thinking that it's not possible doesn't equate with it not being possible. They think that it's not possible, and if they believe that it's not possible, it is absolutely not possible for them. If you think it's possible and you can make it possible for yourself and you believe that, there is no way it's impossible. It is possible for you, at least. Whatever you believe, that's truly, like, it's a cliche statement. Whether or not you think you can do it, you're right.
Yeah, very true, man. And, yeah, like okay, so I want to like bring to the last part of my podcast, which is which I call as bulb on moment round, and here you can shoot your short questions, and I will be asking you some questions which I ask to most of my guests.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
So first one, what inspires you to do everything you do?
Creating freedom for myself. Freedom is what inspires me to do everything that I do, and to do everything that and to not do everything that I do not. It's freedom that drives me.
Then who are some of the mentors that you look up to?
I look up to everyone, dude. I look up to everyone, and I'm sure I look up to everyone for different aspects, right? I do not look up to someone as a whole that he is the only person I look up to. I look up to Nawal for the way he articulates his
Wow,
thoughts and
I love
understands
him.
the world, right? I look up to Jordan B. Peterson for the way he understands suffering, life, and how things intersect. I love Dr. Danny Lehman for the way he understands mind. I love Vidhaan Jain for the way he,
Wow.
takes
Yeah,
up the plunge to do everything. I love Raj Shamani for that matter because he's young and he inspires me by having done a lot of speeches. And so I love Ankur Warikoo. I love the way he speaks and I resonate a lot with him because I think he's the most, my voice is the closest and my way of speaking and my, way of articulating things is closest to Ankur Warikoo. And so, yeah, I admire and am inspired by a lot of people, and in fact inspiration from little things by a lot of people is what makes me want to actually achieve that. So I'm inspired by everyone for the smallest of things. Every person inspires me in some or the other way, dude.
And that everyone should make a note on that. There is like you can change your inspiration with time, and there is
Yeah.
any one small thing also you can get inspired by anyone.
Exactly.
Even your
Exactly.
hater will inspire you in some or the other way, right?
Yeah, true, very true.
And yeah, like if you want to credit all your success to one habit or one ritual of yours, what would that be?
My courage to try and do what I want to do.
Oh, like showing up to things.
Showing up to things and actually going out there, trying it, and just trying it.
Yeah, and what would you like to be remembered for?
That's a tough one. I'd like to be remembered for someone who, always wanted to empower other people, always wanted to, show the truth, always wanted to, who was a person who would always be very excited about the things he learns and the things that he shares and the things that he does to people. And I would always want to be remembered for my good deeds, which I think I haven't done a lot, but I will probably be doing. I've done significant, so a little bit. But yeah, I would want to be remembered as a nice person and who made others feel good every time people were around my energy. Yeah.
Yeah, I can already feel that vibe that you are spreading. Even in your podcast, there is a kind of vibe. If I put on my earphones and start listening, I can just binge watch. It's that good actually. When you are speaking,
Thank you, Shiva. Thank you so much. That's very kind of you, dude.
And one thing I noted in all my podcast guests is no matter how big celebrity they are so humble. I think humble and their greatness is directly proportional to each other.
True. You're if the less humble you are, the less great you look because you're already acting a little. So yeah, true. I agree with that.
And one more thing I wanted to tell, that people, most of my friends ask me, how do you invite some great guest to your podcast? What I really think is, it's not that they can't bring the guest to their podcast, because most of the guests are very humble. Whoever I send
Yeah,
emails,
true.
even if they are not responding at the moment, that means they are busy with some important things, but they are really humble if they see your passion in inviting
True.
them.
True. And I really think that anybody who sees that what you're trying to do, they believe in that, they want to support you, right? They don't think, oh, what am I gonna get out of this person? Those are the thinkings of people who are, shallow, right? These people just think, what can I give? I think this is like Ron personally told me before the conversation, after the conversation, that dude, I reject a lot of people, and I really wanted to be on your show because what you're trying to do, and at what stage of people that is in their early 20s, I really want to help you actually get that seed in their minds. And I believe in your cause, and I think you're doing a great work, and that's why I came out to support you. And that is exactly what happens, right? People want to support you. People, if they believe in you, they would want to support you. It's all about how you communicate your idea to them and whether or not it resonates with them. Like 10 out of 10 people, 6 people, 7 people might not resonate with your idea, but there's got to be 2-3 people who will resonate with your idea, and that's fine. It's just the perfect match that you're getting, and it takes time.
Yeah, so I wanted to ask, what are some of the apps and books that you recommend for us to use?
So
And to
I'll
read,
start with
yeah.
books. I'll
Yeah,
start with
definitely.
books. 100. So I would suggest. How many books do you want me to suggest? 3, 4? Okay, I'll just go ahead and see if I'm satisfied with my answer. So, one book for everyone would. 2 books for everyone would be Siddhartha by Hermann Hesse. It's not not to be confused. It's not a book about Buddha, but Buddha is a character in that book, and it's a book that takes you through the journey of life. And this is the kind of book that broadens your perspective. This book doesn't get you something immediately, but this book gives you the way of seeing things, right? The way of accepting things. The second book I would suggest similarly based on this, which gives you a perspective of life, but a very different perspective, and that of death, would be Tuesdays with Maury, which we
yeah.
both have read.
It's a crazy
right?
book, yeah.
It's a lovely book. It's a beautiful book, and I absolutely love the perspective that Maury had even when he was dying. Like most people living their perfect days are not appreciative of the world and not so grateful as Maury was, even when he couldn't move his legs around, right? And I loved that book, and I love Maury. I think that's some book I would want to go back at it again.
Yeah, like I
And the
just
third
want
book
to
I would
add,
suggest.
Wait, before you suggest the third
Please
book,
do,
I
please
just
do, man.
just want to add one
Yeah,
more
yeah,
thing to this. Like I just heard a quote from Rumi that every mortal tastes death, but very few taste life. And yeah,
Right.
that's the key take from that book as well. Tuesday with Maury. Yeah, and continue with your
Tuesdays
third
with
book.
Maury.
Yeah.
A lot of takeaways with Tuesdays with Maury, man. So my few takeaways quickly, just wanted to touch upon them, was the perspective about money, the perspective that most people by their 40s and 50s, till their 40s and 50s, are chasing material pursuits in life that they discover after hitting 50 or 45, suddenly that none of what I did would actually mattered. And it's actually too late for it to realize. And that is why these books help you to realize in your early 20s, in your late teens, that most people navigate life the wrong way, and that's really not where I want to go. And let's not hear people who actually are not where we want to be, who actually don't look as happy as we'd want to be by that time, and whose careers do not look as lucrative as we'd want to have ourselves, right? So let's not hear out those people, because most people are miserable and most people have made very fucked up choices. by going along the materialistic pursuit of things. So wonderful book. Third book I would suggest everyone after they start making money would be Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Wow.
That is the only book, that is not the only book, but that is the book that is responsible for where I am today financially and wherever I'm going to go in the future. Because essentially what that book did was it opened the door for me, and that door led me that led me into the question that it's not the money, it's not how you make your money that is important. The most important question is what you do with the money after you make it. And that book took me into that doorstep, into that door, and opened up a whole new world of what to do with the money after you make it. And then my curiosity led me to one door after another and after another, and I built myself passive sources of income, I built myself real estate and things like it. And everywhere, any person who after they start making money have to read Rich Dad Poor Dad. It's a mind-blowing perspective. And these three books would be very much I'd love to, for any artist, for you as well, Shiva, you I don't know if you've read that book. It's called The War of Art by,
I heard of it. Yeah.
you might there are two books that people often get confused. One is The Art of War, which is by Sun Tzu. It's on strategies around war, right? It's a nice book. I haven't read it though. And the second book is by Stephen Pressfield. It's called The Art of War. The War of Art, right? So it's for all the artists, all the entrepreneurs, all the people who are going out on their own in the world. It's a beautiful book, dude. Beautiful book. So The War of Art is another highly suggestion of mine. And fifth would be normal. A lot of people have seen this book. This is The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. I personally derived a lot of value from this book. And I can go on and say a lot of books, but yeah, I would want to say the major books who would help every other person. Especially the most important thing I think is how you see the world, how your perspective is, and that based on your perspective you make your small decisions as well, and your small decisions turn into the big things that you realize later in life. So the perspective is the most important. Elevate it and have a lot of wisdom around it.
Yeah, thank you for suggesting books. You just increased my reading list, and you also mentioned that not every book are for everyone at every stage of life.
Exactly.
If you are not enjoying the book, just skip to the next book.
Skip the guilt free.
Yeah,
guilt free.
That's what I also learned on the way before I wanted to read book just for the sake of reading, and right now I read just to extract as much value as possible.
As much as 100%. Nope. Awesome. And for the applications, some of the best applications that really help me are one is Routinary. It's on Android as well as on normal Android as well as Apple, both. So Routinary is an application wherein all your entire routine could be stuck once. So I use it to do my morning routine. You do not want to engage your mind thinking about what next should I do. That depletes your willpower pretty quick, right? You should so this app essentially what it does is all the activities that you want to do are listed there, and there is a timer that runs allotted for every activity. So as soon as I wake up, I play that. I'm not doing it currently, honestly, but I do that a lot whenever I'm in my very high productive, high efficiency phase. So the moment you wake up, you tap that button and it starts with the timer, 1 minute for drinking water, then make your bed, then push-ups, a 5-10 minute workout, and then a diary journal entry, then, make your to-do list, and then meditate, and then 25 minutes, read your book. And that's when it ends. So this is a 1 hour 30 minute morning routine that supercharges me for the day. And similarly, you can make a nighttime routine as well, which I do not follow as often as I would the morning one. So Routinary is a great application.
Is it paid one?
I'm sorry?
Is it paid application?
No. It's free. Okay. Obviously, most applications are for you to, experience it, and for a restricted amount of access, you get it free. And then if you like it, you get more functionalities to upgrade, and they essentially incentivize, but you're very well off with the basic version as well. And so I think I could probably sponsor. These guys could probably sponsor me for the way I've pitched them with so much enthusiasm. And routinely, I use Calm, not a lot, but I use a similar application like Calm. It's called Boosted. I think I got a free 1 year subscription for it. Balance. It's called Balance. It's on iPhone, and that's pretty similar to Calm. That's for meditation. That takes you through the meditative states. And I use mind mapping tools like Xmind to mind map my thoughts and make a flowchart out of them, and that's very helpful. A new application that I today itself was exploring, and it's a beautiful one. It essentially maps out your entire mind in a very lovely way, and much better than Xmind or things like it. So it's called Obsidian.
Oh, I heard of it. It's just like Notion.
It is like Notion, right? It is like Notion. So Obsidian is a lovely app that I'm exploring and learning how to code and build my thought process along it. And I really want to put out everything that I have in my mind and build a second mind for myself on Obsidian. So yeah, these are some tools that are productively helping me. Other than that, the investment tools, and I put out the timers and turn off notifications and some just little tweaks that I do to enhance a bit of my Pomodoro timers. Is also something that I really use for my productivity purposes. So Pomodoro timers,
yeah, like everyone has very limited attention time, and by using Pomodoro technique we can improve our productivity as well. And
so Pomodoro, true. So Pomodoro timer is essentially very well scientifically researched and in accordance with our brains. So it's a 25-minute work period wherein you do not you just focus on one thing, and then you take a 5-minute break, then you again drill down into another 25 minutes, then a 5-minute break, then another 25, then a 5-minute break, or a 30-minute break after the third session or the fourth session. So there's a 30-minute break after it. So this way, if you work for 180 minutes, 90 minutes, if you do 4 Pomodoros in a day, 4 to 6 Pomodoros, it's a pretty effective day.
Wow, yeah. It's a good way of looking at it. Even I will start. Like
100%, dude.
Always I wanted to do this Pomodoro, but never. I think subconsciously I don't believe in it, but it's very true. If it
it's lovely, dude. I tell you, वो जो 25 मिनट वाला इंटेंस फोकस वाले जोन्स होते हैं ना, you love them. You would always love being in the state of flow, and it takes you there in the state of flow.
I think even you believe in not multitasking.
I absolutely believe in not multitasking, dude. There is 100% science that backs it, that nothing is multitasking. It's just a shallow way of not paying full attention, not being able to pay full attention to what you can actually. So multitasking is essentially, there's a residue left whenever you switch tasks. So you cannot immediately transcend or immediately pick up the momentum of a different thing that you just started. There is a momentum that builds up when you're doing certain thing, and immediately when you open something else, you cannot think that this momentum will end. It keeps on going for a while, then you build momentum for the next thing. And if you keep switching, there's a attention residue over there, and that's not good.
Yeah, before I ask you the last question, I just want you to say how people listening to this can get in touch with you.
Thank you so much for allowing me. And people can get in touch with me on Instagram. My username is VIDHAANJAINN, Vidhaan Jain. I'm sure Shiva will list down my links below.
Definitely. I was able.
Right? Yeah. Instagram is where I'm most frequently active on, and that's the best place to connect with me. Other than that, you guys can look into my podcast. There's a list of a lot of things that I cover. It's called The 20s Show, and it's dedicated for all the 20-somethings like me and you. And yeah, so the best place would be to connect with me on Instagram. And other socials I am not so active on, but you can very well connect on with me over there, and you can list down all my LinkedIn, all my Twitter, my Instagram, and my podcast. Yeah,
and if you ask my suggestion, I would recommend my listeners to go and watch the first episode, Start with the End in Mind, and Ron Malhotra's episode, because these two are the episodes which I am so much resonated with, and I would highly recommend those to start with. And yeah,
I'd probably agree with that, and I always recommend people to start with the first episode, and then look into whatever resonates with you, whatever topic resonates with you. But if I had to suggest someone to, actually go and spend 1.5 hours on my podcast, it would be Ron Malhotra's.
Yeah, definitely. I know why you just said that.
Yeah.
And coming to the last question, I want you to close your eyes
Uh-huh.
and keep your hand in your heart and just listen to my voice. You can answer it later. Like, if you are given a chance to speak tomorrow in a biggest stage, in a biggest stadium which you have never seen before, and people from all over the world, the youth, everyone are so curious to hear what Vidhaan has to say, and you are given 1 minute to share your life message or something you want to sum up and say in 1 minute, what would that be? What would you say?
Can I open my eyes?
Yeah,
or
definitely.
do I have to keep it closed?
No,
Okay.
you just have to feel it and imagine it. That's why I made you do that.
Okay. Lovely exercise. So what I'd really want to put out for the 1 minute is, I don't know how I'm going to structure it out into impromptu for this 1 minute, but I'd really say that begin with the end in mind. Understand that life is finite and that your time here is finite, and that be as authentic as possible. Find who you truly are. It doesn't come with what other people tell you about you. It comes by your own introspection. Find and align with your own self, with your own voice, and with your own true, self. Align with that and do in accordance with that voice. Do things whether they'll take courage out of you. Be courageous, be authentic, be genuine, be helpful to people, of course. And be courageous is the most important value I would want to say. Be truthful at all times. Communicate well. I really think that the only problem that most people have, or most problems arise out of, is interpersonal relationships. Be very good at communicating what you have in your heart with others. And another important realization that I've had about my life is, enabling your dreams, your own dreams, is not as fulfilling as enabling other people's dreams. And you'll feel so much more happier when you enable dreams of other people than you would by fulfilling your own dreams. So be capable enough to be able to fulfill dreams of other people, and that's the best way to feel good about yourself and feel happy.
And just that one line is sufficient to start working on your dreams, because when you can if you keep that in mind, that in order to fulfill others' dream, the only way is you being that abundant in your life.
Exactly.
And I think that enough motivation for doing all those crazy stuff that you ever wanted to do in your life.
Exactly. Because the truest form of being is to enable other beings to be themselves. And yeah, that will come by you having all the abundance, like you just mentioned, by fulfilling your desires as well, by becoming capable enough to be able to help a lot of people.
That brings us to the end of our podcast. I am really grateful for you to provide me an opportunity to have this wonderful conversation with you. I really enjoyed it and learned a lot of value, and I hope you enjoyed the conversation with me.
I really did, Shiva, and thank you so much for having me on your show. It was a lovely time with you, and all the best.
Yeah, thank you so much.